And we are live.
Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Okradowski and Jason Burmis of WeAreChange.org here for special Election Day coverage. We were supposed to do this later at night, but I have a flight later, so I can't really do that. But we might as well just start it out now because people are calling this, Jason, the most important election of our time. And let's not forget, they also said this in 2016, 2014, 2012, 2010, and the trend just keeps continuing. But in this special live broadcast, we are going to go over all the important news updates, our predictions, things to care about, things not to care about, but also, most importantly, a debate. Since personally, myself, I don't know if you've been watching this channel, I'm not really the voting type. I really don't have a lot of faith in voting and kind of agree with The Onion that put it very correctly today that voters are excited to use midterms to put country back on different wrong track. And that's exactly how I see it. But on the completely other side, we, of course, have Jason Burmis, whose favorite civic duty is, of course, voting. He sees today as Christmas to pick his perfect slave corporate overlord master. And Jason, you disagree with that sentiment that I have?
Yeah, first of all, I don't think it's Christmas, Luke. I'm not really excited
sure?
about.
Are you sure about that?
I'm 100% positive this is not a holiday for me. 1,000% positive this is not a holiday for me. I did vote in the presidential election, therefore I am registered to vote in this one, Luke. And there are some local elections that I'm a little concerned about. We'll get into that in a moment. And I understand why, again, you don't like voting. The way the media hypes everything, again, this Onion headline is pretty clever, is it not? It's pretty clever. Voters excited to use midterms.
Put my memes to best describe how I feel, because pretty much you're just choosing which leader you want to be choked by, like the Darth Vader meme. I love the other meme with this other dude with the really bad party will win if you don't vote for the really good party. and pretty much I see this whole thing as lighting fuel on a fire, thinking that you're going for less government. And again, the divide and conquer aspects and schemes of voting are so evident. And it's really one of the reasons why I think we are facing so much oppression, so much divide and conquer, and so much rule by the establishment and by the elites because of these dirty tricks of people justifying the vote for lesser of two evils. So that's my take on it. Just putting it bluntly there.
Well, I got to tell you. So today, it is the possibility that I may have to vote for the lesser of two evils. And I know, I know. It's hard for me to say that. And I don't like being put in that position. However, for instance, in this presidential election, I did not think Trump was coming in with the Superman cape and going to save the world. But I knew he would be better than Hillary Clinton. So I did go down and vote. Now, I also live in New York State, where he was projected to lose by many points, which he did. However, I still did it. Now, my heart tells me that I should be voting for Larry Sharp Libertarian, Luke. You don't want to vote for the Libertarian? Oh, do you? Oh, is that right? I see something in your face. You wouldn't dare cast a vote for someone that leans towards your values, right? Go ahead. Not okay, vote for Larry?
Just to clarify my position, I will never tell people to go out there and vote, because right now what we're seeing a whole bunch of celebrities, a whole bunch of corporate brands, and a whole bunch of just people just being completely disingenuous, and they're trying to cover up their bipartisanship with instead of this phony kind of civic duty routine that they're trying to push on everyone. Like, yeah, guys, vote. Like, come on, we know what you're doing here. It's disingenuous. It's fake. I will never tell people to vote. I'm not a big proponent of voting, but I do enjoy being social. I am an extrovert. I do like to go out and talk to some of the people who are engaged in our political discourse and go up to the voting booth where good old Grandma Sweetens is in there. And I like to start up conversations with her, because that's the best way to get ideas out there, is to talk to people one-on-one. And I talk to Grandma Sweetens, which I'm probably going to do after this broadcast at the voting booth, and say, which globalist, satanic, corporate overlord are you voting for, Grandma Sweetens? And then start up the discussion. And for the heck of it, I always, again, I'm not a big proponent. I'm not going to tell people what to do. I do like being contrarian, and I gotta say I do love writing in man bear pig into the election voting booth thing. I do like going against any incumbent, and I do like voting for third parties. On a personal level, that's just what I like to do. Will I advocate it? Will I tell other people to do that? Hell no. So that's my personal standpoint, clarified on this important topic that is being discussed by everyone right now.
Well, first of all, let me just say I'm not one of those guys that's I'm not wearing a vote or die T-shirt. I'm not rocking the P Diddy. I'm not, inundating you with celebritards telling you need to vote because this is it's the most important election ever, Luke. It's the most important. If we don't vote now, I'm not that guy. However, I am a man of reality.
There is a slight resemblance with P Diddy.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. Anyway. Behind me, you can see that Cuomo, who I absolutely cannot stand, may be the most corrupt governor New York has ever seen.
Well, he's like a mafia criminal family bankster.
Yeah.
His family has been running New York for a very long time, and they pretty much have a full cartel control of New York, the Cuomo family. And also in media, too, Chris Cuomo on CNN. But, yeah, definitely not a fan of that guy.
Not a fan. So now, do I vote for the Republican? I am not a red man. Again, I didn't vote for Trump because I thought that he was going to make America great again. I voted for Trump because I thought he was better than Hillary Clinton. So Molinaro, I was watching, I was just scrolling through my Twitter feed yesterday. I saw 20 questions with Molinaro. He's the Republican. He's out there campaigning with Pataki, who, quite frankly, I was no fan of because he was our governor during New York and did not step up to the plate and do anything for the first responders, 9/11 truth.
Well, he was governor during New York. He's also a Bilderberg member. I confronted former New York Governor Pataki, and the man's a coward. The man lied to us through his teeth about even attending Bilderberg. If you want a funny video, you have to see, what was his name again?
Which one are we talking about? Pataki?
Pataki. WeAreChange confronts Pataki. Look up that video if you guys have some chance and want to see a really funny video of a confrontation with the former governor. I would have never seen this situation. I would rather just go to third party there. I would rather just vote the Libertarian than the lesser of two evils, to be honest with you, because we're going to make these arguments later on. But I think it doesn't matter who votes. It matters who counts the votes. But we could get into that debate later. But for this one, just for the heck of it, I like being contrarian. I like messing around. I won't tell people what to do, but I think in this specific race, I will vote Libertarian.
Well, I just want to say this again. I'm not trying to tell you need to go out there, that you're a bad person if you don't. I'm not telling you how to vote because, again, I'm not even sure what I'm going to do when I go down there after Luke and I do this broadcast. I'm going to go refill my coffee cup and about 20 yards away.
You're going to vote for the Republican because you don't like Cuomo that much, and you're going to succumb to the lesser of two evils argument.
Well, thank you for deciding for me, Luke, but I'm not sure I'm going to do that yet. I want to make that clear. There's a couple other local elections, congressional elections, the Delgado one where he was a rapper talking about Iraq. I'm not going to hold that against him. There's a lot of people that want FASO. I don't even know if I'm going to cue in on that. But I want to read a couple of our super chats. By the way, we're going to be responding to these super chats throughout the broadcast and taking calls at the end of the broadcast. Apache 34 says,
we're taking phone calls along this major debate, and we want to know, do you believe in voting? Do you not believe in voting? Does it legitimize the criminal institutions and mob mentality rule? Or is it actually a good, important civic duty that does make a difference? Let us know. You're going to be calling in later in. Also, I'm paying attention to the chat rooms about this very specific topic. Obviously, me and Jason disagree on this topic, and that's why we're debating it here right now. Go ahead with the super chats, Jason.
You got it. So a couple of the super chats here. Apache 34, $4.99. Thank you so much. Every little bit helps. Abby Martin, Ryan Christian 2020. I'm not familiar with Ryan unless that is her new fiance. And which, if it is, then I did see him on Jimmy Dore. Obviously, I'm a fan of Abby Martin. I'm not so sure that I would agree with all of her political stances. That's not to say I wouldn't vote for her, not in the presidential election, but maybe a local one. In fact, Robbie, her brother that he does the Media Roots podcast with, he just contacted me either yesterday or the day before and wanted to do another podcast on the militia movement. So we're going to be getting together shortly and doing that. And then we've got this great super chat from George Soros, the man. I shouldn't even say George Soros. We just got demonetized, Luke. I guarantee the stream has been demonetized. I mentioned George
You
Soros.
can't criticize George Soros anymore.
So Soros over here says, we get to vote for recreational marijuana in Michigan today, and that's all I care about. Power to you, brother, showing you that voting is not just about politicians, but it is about to do what you would like to do with your own body freely. So another ticker on the hey, maybe
Which
you
you
should
don't
vote.
need government permission to do so. And by playing into that system, you legitimize their control over you.
Or, Luke, you get caught on the corner with a Blunsky and Hutch, and you end up doing 30 days in jail and community service, or you vote against that, and then you have the blunt on the corner, and the officer says, I can't do anything. I'm just saying. That's how our system works. It's not.
How
I'm
about
not
we
saying
just
it's
have
perfect
basic
system.
human rights and not a system of control and extortion like we do here that is only legitimized by your participation in choosing a slave master to rule over you. Okay, before we get into sorry. Me and Jason disagree. It's okay. That's how we learn. We have a little discussion here. We still got a couple of news articles to talk about because there are some aspects of this election, should I say selection process that we're going through. Again, sorry, I can't help myself with the little personal jabs there. But there are some fascinating aspects about this entire election that's happening here that I think are worth considering, especially I think the bigger political posturing. Out of this divide and conquer rule, out of this vote for the lesser of two evil ideology that's being imprinted on the psychological imprint of the American people, of course, the Republicans and Democrats have the most to win. The two biggest gangs, the Crips and the Bloods, have the biggest amount to win, especially from the
We may have.
and I wanted to talk strategies here because, Jason, people are saying that there's going to be a massive blue wave, that the Democrats are going to take over the House, the Senate. They're going to take away the majority from Donald Trump, that they're going to impeach Donald Trump when they have the majority. Other people are saying that no way that this is going to happen, that the liberals and the Democrats are desperate, that the conservatives are going to be drinking the liberal tears after this year's loss by the supposed Democrats. Again, just more mafia gang-like mentality and talk that we're seeing around here. But you've been kind of paying attention to it. I've been paying attention to it. I'm still on the fence because I'm still saying, let's wait until we actually see the raw numbers. I'm not going to say either it's going to go this way or this way. But you've been looking at it interestingly. You've been looking at the rallies. And I think really what we have been seeing at the rallies is kind of indicative with what's going to happen. So give us your kind of perspective and takeaway from how many people you've been seeing at Barack Obama's rallies, the Democrats' rallies, and of course Donald Trump's rallies.
Well, absolutely. And the article behind me, it says Trump's roadshow, a musical moment of grace in Missouri. But that wasn't the original headline. It was, where is this big blue wave? Why? This guy is touring like he's still running for president. And I'm going to scroll down, and it's just not Missouri, by the way. He's everywhere. 17,000, 20,000, stadiums. He's a rock star. Look at this. His 2018 cross-country blitz, he hit 11 cities in 8 states. You can say whatever you want about Trump, but to say that he's not energetic, motivated, and moving forward would be wrong. And again, I don't see this blue wave they've tried to sell to the public through Rachel Maddow and Stephen Colbert and P. Diddy and all these celebrities. And let me tell you why I don't see that. When I watch these Trump rallies, number one, CNN, MSNBC, they won't zoom out. They won't show you that thousands of people are outside of the stadiums as he comes in on his plane or helicopter. Okay? More people are outside for Trump than former President Barack Obama gets in the entire place. What you're looking at behind me is the Washington Post video of Obama at Georgia trying to campaign for Stacey Abrams. Do the math there. Take a good look here. I'll get my big head right out of the way. Now, we're somewhat zoomed out. There isn't even a bleacher there, okay? There are more people at a high school basketball game. Do the numbers. Maybe 2, maybe 300 people is what you're looking at. Now, if you were to watch MSNBC, CNN, any mainline. I watch the CBS feed. I put it side by side. They have it in tight so you can see the change our choice. So that's the top level. You think there are many people behind him. There are not. There are literally 2 to 3. Where's this blue wave? If rock star Barack Obama can't fill an audience, what chance do these guys have today? And by the way, again, no fan of Trump, but boy, did he bring out the big guns. People still love Lion Sean Hannity and Rush. I've been married so many times I can't count my Oxycontin pills, Limbaugh. He brings them on stage to applause. And I'm not that guy, but I'm just pointing out this guy has so many people out there. And to ignore these people, to act like Jon Stewart knows what the hell he's talking about, or even Dave Chappelle on CNN. I watch those guys talking about this election. Guys, the blue wave isn't happening. I'm not saying there won't be election corruption, but it's just not, it's not happening. It's not, let me say it again. It is not happening. I know Luke won't go that far, but I promise you by the end of today, Trump is not going to get impeached because they're not going to take over the House. The Senate is going to stay the same, so it wouldn't even really matter had they pushed the Kavanaugh hearings. And I would be shocked if I'm wrong. Hey, let me know if I'm wrong. We're going to take calls in a little bit. But if you've been following the election honestly, if you are not beholden to the right or left, the Republicans, the Democrats, the conservatives, or the liberals, and you look at this fairly, you will see, again, thousands, tens of thousands showing up for Trump. You can't even break 500 for Barack Obama. And that's how I see it, Luke.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's still very early to call, and it's very unpredictable, especially with voting that is being rigged, with who's counting the votes, with how specific counties treat their votes. So I'm still going to reluctantly not make the call on this one because, again, you do make a very compelling case, and I think that case is even substantiated with what we saw yesterday with the Telethon for America. So a whole bunch of celebrities, the Ellen DeGeneres channel, GLAAD, Comedy Central, mainly a lot of leftist kind of pundits did this live stream for 2 hours, where if you registered to vote, again, they had like hundreds of celebrities on there, and they wanted people to pledge that they're going to vote. Hundreds of celebrities, all these channels with millions and millions of subscribers, and then I haven't seen like one of the live streams even break 1,000, and the comments on there were just holy cow. I thought our comments were wild. Lordy, this was an absolute comment slaughterhouse of these people trying to get people to vote. It really just people on the left trying to galvanize more power for themselves. Let's just call it for what it really is here. And Comedy Central had to actually delete their live stream yesterday because the comments were so brutal. Again, guys, we don't censor or delete any comments here. We always answer all of your super chats. We always agree in having an amazing discussion, whether you guys disagree or agree with us. I'm seeing a lot of chatter being like, how dare you not vote for the Republicans, Luke? And then snobby liberals being like, how dare you not vote for the Democrats? And both of you guys could, family-friendly show. We can't curse here. But I'm going to be who I am. And I just think the whole premise of this, of choosing of the lesser of two evils, is absolutely idiotic. I still practice the act of voting for the poop and giggles of it, in a family-friendly way of saying that, in a self-entertaining kind of protest vote. But again, I would never act and try to galvanize people to vote for some kind of master. I think the system is more made to be made fun of than to be kind of taken seriously. My own personal take on it, and I might be wrong, and Jason Burmis might be right. But that's why we're here, to have that discussion and to talk about it. And Jason, it is going to be interesting to see what happens, which political mobster gang takes over, which one has the majority rule, which mob rule we're going to be subjected to, even though it's the same kind of corporate overlords that pretty much decide the same things. More war, more corporate welfare, less things that actually matter against all of us. But I wanted to bring up the greater topic of what we're seeing right now with MSNBC even showing the vote totals before the votes were in. Did you see this, Jason? I just sent you the article here that I think is interesting to talk about now. And I do think highlights a little bit more in my kind of argument sphere on this entire election night.
Well, let me say this. I'm not saying voting isn't rigged. In fact, Luke, I know you don't know this because we haven't discussed it, but Greg Palast recently put out a new trailer for his 2018 version of The Best Democracy Money Can Buy. Now, that was originally a book all the way back in either 2001 and 2002, and then the BBC did a special on it. That's where he talked about the Saudis leaving the country. Greg Palast, great investigative journalist, and this 2018 one is actually about voting. Okay. So I contacted Greg, and actually Greg got back to me, and I tried to set up an interview. He gave me an email to, it might have even been Lenny from New York City. I know you know Lenny, New York 9/11 Truth way back in the day. And Lenny still hasn't gotten back to me, but we are going to get Greg Palast
Crazy
on.
Lenny?
What?
Crazy basement Lenny?
I'm not here to to bash anybody. I haven't talked to Lenny in years.
I'm not bashing him. He had a
was
cool
an attic.
basement.
It wasn't
that
a basement.
He had a cool basement
Well, wasn't
that
it
we
upstairs?
do meetups in and public shows in.
Yeah, it was. He had the public TV station, but it was upstairs. It wasn't downstairs. At least the last
It was
time I went.
downstairs. It's called him crazy basement Lenny.
Crazy. Anyway, I'm trying to get Palast on, and Palast really believes that they stole the presidential election. I'd like to hear this. I've interviewed Bev Harris in the past. I don't like the Diebold systems. And when you look at what MSNBC showed, not only is it alarming, Luke, that they showed the winner, but it's a 0.6% victory. It's not even 1%. We know this election is going to be close if you've been following it in Florida. And for them to project this number is a bit frightening. Again, they're trying to tell you that the Reds don't have any chance. And I'm not coming at you as a Republican. I'm seeing some of the comments. Oh, I'm a Trump ass kisser. Look, I don't like the man's foreign policy. I think his domestic policy has a long way to go. I am not, red all the way. And I probably ain't going to vote. I'm probably voting in like 3 of the elections today. Okay, I'm probably voting in the governor, the congressional, and possibly a state senator. Okay,
I'm voting in all of them, and it's probably going to be for Man Bear Pig, just for the record, or the person going against the incumbent, or just a third party. Either. I'm just going to do whatever feels right. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to do whatever feels right to me as well, Luke. And what feels right to me is, again, voting my conscience. So will I vote Larry Sharp today, or will I vote Molinaro? I'm not quite sure yet, but I will go down there after this.
I'm doing Libertarian. You're going to go for the Republican because you're still buying into the lesser of two evils argument. Let's be honest here.
No, I'm not. I'm not buying into it. But do you think? Hold on. Do you think if this happens, the blue wave that everybody predicted in the lamestream media, even though the numbers don't show it, say it happens, don't you think they'll impeach Trump for the Russian nonsense or anything they can, 23rd Amendment, all that stuff?
I think it's a probability, but I don't think it's likely. I think Donald Trump safeguarded himself by putting Mike Pence in there. He's pretty much like George Bush 2.0, mixed in with a little bit of a Dick Cheney. He's a sinister, anti-LGBTQ, very Christian and conservative right-wing guy, and I think he kind of protected himself on there, but even then, I mean, it's so hard to tell. I mean, obviously they're going to be pushing for it. We saw many candidates, being pressured by it with the majority rule, but overall, I don't see this. I do kind of like to see them kind of tearing each other to pieces, to be honest with you, because that shows you how ineffective they are, and by them fighting each other, they have less to extort the people out of. So I don't know. It's going to be entertaining to say the least, but I don't think we're in control of that anyway, because I think the whole system's kind of rigged.
Well, let me say this: I'm no fan of Paul Ryan. Okay, and I'm not sure if they can hear, but I can hear my background. You might want to lower me a little bit in there because you're not wearing headphones. I'm no fan of Paul Ryan, but I would not want Nancy Pelosi to be the Speaker of the House again. Nancy Pelosi should not be in government, right or left, liberal or conservative. She's a walking corpse. Literally, I mean, she's a walking corpse. I'm not sure if she's in her 80s yet, but she may already be in her 80s. She has no place in government. She has completely been out of touch with mainstream America for over 20 years. And I still remember, it's got to be 8, 9 years ago now, where she was being interviewed about something and she was asked a tough question where people were demanding answers. And she said, "Oh, it sounds like the people want to know the secrets of the temple," which was like, "What are you talking about, bitch?" And
Family friendly show.
hey,
You could say female dog,
you can
but
say
not
that
the
on
B word.
cartoons
Okay.
now, my man.
Oh, we
Like
got the
that.
Next News Network in here too. Gary Franchi as well.
Oh, is he? Hey, what's up, Gary? I'm sure Gary
Gary's
doesn't.
voting for the right wingers. Gary is 100% trying to get that red wave going.
Well, so
We
is
have
Dice.
Argyle, who's one of our subscribers. He says, "I'm not voting, abstaining from the corruption." Yep. Okay. Some of the comments are too inappropriate to read, so I
Luke just
appreciate.
mind killed Jason. I don't know how, but maybe he did. While you're looking at those, let's read some of these super chats we're getting.
Yep. Next News Network just tweeted Trump 2020 all day. Of course, Gary. Of course, we know where you lie on this position.
I like Gary. I'm
He's
still
on.
not.
He's on Team Burmis.
I mean, again, I
Uh,
wouldn't say. Listen,
I
by
like Gary because we're friends and we've been friends for like a long time since like 2006. But I am not a fan of your politics, Gary, and we could debate that later.
we should get Gary on
Another time.
I'll
But
listen.
regardless of that, you know, we're still homies. We're still friends.
Why don't we set
And
that up?
the Next News Network, Team Burmis. Of course, you're on Team Burmis. You're on voting for the lesser of two evils, voting for the Republicrats. Because of the whole divide and conquer scheme. Before we get into the super chats, hold on. Let's put up the tweet by Occupy Democrats because this is happening by either the left-wing mafia or the right-wing mafia, either the Bloods or Crips. Doesn't matter to us. But Occupy Democrats is putting out a lot of interesting information saying that any vote for a Republican today is a vote for Donald Trump. Voting for a third-party candidate is, of course, voting for Donald Trump. Not voting is voting for Donald Trump. And you only should vote blue if you want to preserve the supposed alleged democracy that we're living under, which is all really just a big lying hoax since we're living under plutocratic, technocratic, what is it? Kakistocracy. Google that term if you guys want to understand what exactly I'm trying to portray here. Kakistocracy is really the ultimate system that we're living under that really needs to be talked about. But I want to talk about this because there's been a lot of just mindless propaganda, Jason, against voting third party. And I think this is a big component to why the election system, the voting system is so broken, is because of so much shame is put on people genuinely voting for their ideas and them being pushed into this paradigm of choose a douche sandwich or a turd. You don't have to make those choices. And I think the propaganda and mind control and psychological warfare is so strong that people only believe that they have that. And it's being pushed by, of course, the big cartels here, the big mafias, the Bloods and Crips, the Democrats and the Republicans. But in reality, you do have a third option. And even as a protest vote, I think it is worth sometimes making to show your discontent because it is extremely just awful to see the shaming that's going on for people who are voting by what they actually believe in. That is something that shouldn't be shamed upon. That is something that shouldn't be looked down upon. This shouldn't be all about strategies, but being able to represent yourself. And if people were able to represent themselves, if they had more of an option to, I believe they would. And I think this is why in the United States, most people don't vote. The majority of Americans don't vote for a very specific reason because they align with the same kind of principles and ideologies that I am exposing to you. And I think only a small amount of people are able to have this kind of cancerous, mind-controlled discourse saying, choose the Bloods or Crips, douche or turd sandwich. That's kind of my assessment on it. Do you agree with that, Jason, or do you disagree with it?
Oh, so much to unpack right there, Luke. Let me first start by saying it's very George Carlin of you, who did a great bit, my favorite all-time comedian. I actually got to see him before he died, where he does a whole bit on not voting. And he's like, come election day, I don't vote, so you can't blame me. And he says, I know, they like to twist that around and say if you don't vote, you don't have any right to complain. But he's like, why? I didn't choose this person. And it's a funny bit, and I get it. However, I do think that I think protest votes matter. For instance, in 2008, Luke, I voted for President Cynthia McKinney, a black woman congressman who was running on the Green Party ticket, a lefty ticket. I'm not a Green Party member. I'm not saying it's bad they exist. I think it's good that the Libertarian Party, the Green Party, I'd love to see a constitutionalist party out there. More choices. I don't like the domination of the two-party slave system. That's not what I'm endorsing here. And I'm not trying to tell people to vote for the lesser of two evils.
Even though you are going to vote for the Republican.
Again, I'm undecided. It's a real decision. Listen, it's a big boy decision. I'm making big boy decisions, Luke. I'm not a child. I'm making a big boy decision. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I do want to talk about this before I get into
voting Republican. Let's just be honest here. You're voting Republican.
Listen, I'll tell you what. If you're still watching, I'd love to do a broadcast with you tomorrow after the election, and then I will reveal who I actually voted for.
It'll be a pat on the. You'll guys just be patting each other on the back, like, yeah, we voted the Republicans. Yeah, they're for blah blah. That's what's gonna happen.
Luke, I gotta ask you. I know you're an iPhone
Admit
guy.
it.
Now, I'm not. First of all, no, because I'm not. I'll tell you what. I'm going to take a snapshot also on my phone of who I voted for, so everybody can see it.
That's illegal. The government you voted in is going to put you in jail because of that.
Well, we'll see about that. Yesterday, I was pretty disturbed that this device here. Oh, look, it reflects my little screen. How neat. This device I just showed everybody. All of a sudden, Google made me aware I needed to vote tomorrow. I got a little notification on my Android. Anybody with an Android phone, I'm sure you did too. And it said Election Day is tomorrow. Well, today it went one step further, Luke. I'm going to begrudgingly admit that I used the Tinder application. And Tinder told me that every quote-unquote single, get it? Every single vote counts. And I got to tell you, I don't love
I'm going on Tinder right now just to see the propaganda they have on here. Just to investigate. For you.
Listen, I'm just saying, I think that if you can
Lord,
get out
here
there...
it comes up. It comes up here. Every single vote count. What is this propaganda? Look at this.
Yes.
Can you see it? Can you see it on my camera screen?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
What the hell is Tinder telling me to be a statist?
Do
you see it on there?
Yeah, of course. Oh, we're focused right in. I would just say this again.
What the hell is this thing?
I don't love the fact...
Get out and vote now or maybe later. Stop telling me what to do, Tinder. Right, let me click go out and vote. It's bringing me to a blog. Every single God, rockthevote.org. What is that? P. Diddy? Is that P. Diddy's crap? Yeah. Well, it's MTV. It's MTV. MTV started. Remember they used to have. Remember when Boris Yeltsin was running Rock the Vote? The Russians were getting their vote. That was a big thing. Man, like looking at Tinder these days, it's like.
Oh, so you have the Tinder too, huh? Oh, look at that.
Oh my goodness.
You really love that, don't you?
Well, no, this just shows you. I mean, it's the downfall of our human society, and how socially. Oh my goodness, how screwed we are, and how out of touch reality. Oh God, they have this lady. Oh no. Okay. I don't want to release people's private information here. But this lady, this is what I'm looking at Tinder right now. Maybe there's a way I could cover her face. No. I'm just going to describe what I'm seeing here because this is just.
She's on Tinder. Is it a DM? If it's not a DM, who cares?
I'm seeing a lady that is, I would say, conservatively 200 to like 200 pounds overweight. She has a shirt that says the future is female. Gender she's talking about no hookups.
No hookups, Luke. She's looking for a voting man. She's looking for a real relationship. While you read those...
she's a political junkie.
Oh.
Human rights advocate. But specifically made it very clear, no hookups.
While you do that, Luke, I'm going to read off some of these super chats because you would just have the most S-eaten grin on your face right now. Antonia Kinsley. Hi from the UK. Beware immigration. Europe stinks. Luke would know more about Europe than I. I have never traveled there. He goes there quite often.
What's the question?
It's not a question. She just is warning against immigration. And we do know that, especially the United Kingdom, London, has been heavily hit by immigration in the last 5-6 years. It's really changed the landscape of how Europe looks. Do you not agree, Luke? I mean, that's something you've seen firsthand, yes?
Oh, yeah, Europe changed 180 degrees. Like, I used to go to Europe a few years ago, and it was a totally different place than it is now. It is extremely divided. It is extremely different. Just even the energy and the landscape that we're seeing all around us is just like, what the hell are they doing? What the hell's going on here? Absolutely. Again, like the globalists want to divide and conquer people as much as they can. And I think that is most evident with the current situation, especially with immigration we are seeing in Western Europe. I do still enjoy Eastern Europe, like countries like Lithuania, countries like Latvia and Croatia. I still have been enjoying myself. And now that is way more of a preferable place for me to go than the more overpriced, touristy, the more globalist, the more bigger corporatist governments that we see in London and Paris, in Germany. Right now, today, I'm going to Krakow, Poland for Steamfest. There's a big conference happening with the Steemit social media company that rewards people with cryptocurrencies for being on their platform that we're on, that helped us survive this. But I'm still shocked at what I'm seeing on Tinder here because holy cow, like it does not look promising out there for the future generation of our humanity. A lot of single mothers, a lot of overweight people, a lot of people with just disillusioned ideologies and belief systems that contradict each other just on their basic principles. I'm sorry, I'm going off again. Are we done with the super chats? Because I want to get into a couple more issues before we take phone calls.
Let me get into these quick because actually one of them talks about Steam here. In fact, I'm going to skip a couple just to say that it's time to check out of this election and just use crypto. I know you love hearing that. By the way, you should check out sharetosteam.com to have Steam post made from every YouTube stream. I'm definitely going to check that site out after this and see what's up. Shinzu Music, watch Fight Club, Read the Republic, and the Gorgias by Plato. I'm not sure what that is.
Fight Club's a great movie. Definitely recommend that one.
Great book, too.
I did read The Republic a few years ago, and Gorgias by Plato. I haven't read that, but it'll be interesting to put that on my reading list. I'll definitely check that out.
I've read The Allegory of the Cave by Plato. I've not read that. I've read The Allegory of the Cave by Plato. Crazy KZ, I'm driving and donating. Thank you so much. Marcus Poulis, thank you for the super chat.
Not being so crazy, no texting and driving. Crazy KZ. Don't give the state an excuse to stop you by the road pirates. And it's also just generally good practice that should be practiced by individuals and not through extortion.
Oh, Luke. Andrew McMillan also sends us $1. Thank you so much, Andrew. At this point, I think, what do you think, Luke? Should we give out the phone number? Should we take the calls?
Oh, yeah. Let's put out the phone calls. But also, I want to talk about, again, the main kind of ideas that I'm trying to put out there is to not fall into gang mentality, to consider protest votes, to consider third parties. But also outside of that, there are other elections happening that are not just between the Crips and the Bloods. There's other elections happening right now when it comes to issues of marijuana, ballot access, campaign spending, taxes, Medicaid. And there's issues that are happening that are being voted on issue by issue through propositions in many different places in many different states. And the one that kind of stuck out to me that I think is actually one worth considering is this proposition in California about setting up a public bank for the city of Los Angeles. And I think this would be a great thing that would obviously lead to the demise of Los Angeles and to our fake economic debt-ridden systems quicker, but also a system that would take away billions of dollars from the big mega multinational banks that the city of Los Angeles uses. And I think that this is something worthwhile and something worth considering that I think is an issue that is called Proposition B. And people in Los Angeles will be able to vote for the city to have their own kind of banking system instead of relying on the big multinational Wall Street banksters, those ghouls and mafioso buttholes who collect an interest on money that they get from Los Angeles. So it is important to be aware of the proposition issues if you do want to entertain that. But I think, Jason, the reason I have so much disdain for voting is pretty much because instead of investing so much time and energy into this divide and conquer scheme, which only empowers the state and only takes away from us living a free, entrepreneurial, successful life, and that is government standing in the way of that, I think it's a lot more worthwhile to go out there and support ventures with voting with your dollar, voting with your clicks, voting with your shares, and at the same time, voluntarily going after issues and campaigns you care about and making a difference, whether donating money, volunteering your time to an actual cause that you believe in. And I think if people spent their time being more responsible for the issues that they cared about instead of just choosing a master or ruler to rule over them and to impose their mindset onto somebody else. I think if we all took self-responsibility and started looking at actual issues, getting involved in things we actually cared about, making a difference locally, one-on-one, I think that would be a better, more self-responsible world that I am pushing towards. And that's why I am not a big proponent of voting for a freaking master and a bigger proponent of being responsible for yourself as an individual, voluntarily going out there and making a difference one-on-one.
Well, let me say this, Luke.
Instead of a gangster mafioso imposing his will on your behalf against somebody else. That's bullcrap. I believe we're beyond that. That's why I'm not a proponent of voting, just to clarify. I still do it for the poops and giggles. I still do it to mess with Grandma and to make fun of the whole system and to do a protest vote, but I will never advocate people to vote. You guys do what you want. It's an absolute poop show. You might as well just have poop and giggles everywhere and expose it for the illegitimate system that it is and push people to be responsible for themselves. That's my personal take on it. Jason disagrees. It's Christmas for him. He's voting. He's getting out the stockings. He's excited. He's gelling his hair. He's getting his government ID ready and running to the polls right after this video. Correct?
Nope, actually not correct, because obviously I just want to point this out. I have no gel in my hair today. The grays are popping, folks. You can see them right on the top.
I'm being facetious.
Oh, I know what you're doing, but I'm going to break down every lie that you just said. I'm not being
serious.
For instance, master. Vote for your master. Actually, Luke, what you're voting for are representatives. Now, you are correct in saying that many of them are gangsters and criminals and part of that class, but to call them my master, nobody's my master. I'm my own master. And that, hold on.
But you're giving them the power to be a master over you. I'm not
giving anybody any power.
To impose their mentality over other people through the force and extortion of a police force and thugs with guns running around saying, we're going to do things this way because we have a cartel. We have control over this specific territory because we stole your money to buy us hired thugs to enforce our will onto other people. And if you don't do as we say, we're going to put you in jail, or we're going to make sure we take more of your money to build up this bullcrap fake state that we're all under. Sorry, let's put out the phone number.
The phone number's out, big guy. If you want me to say it over the air, I will, but I want to...
Yeah, let's say it over there. Let's get some phone calls on this bad boy. We're very much looking forward to your phone calls and this bigger conversation that we're going to have for 15 more minutes. What's the phone number, Jason?
607-542-9184. It is on the screen, 607-542-9184. Let me just eviscerate Luke's arguments for just a moment. He's talking about personal responsibility, but he's also talking about not forcing anybody to do anything. Well, unfortunately, Luke, there are plenty of people that are adults that aren't volunteerists, that aren't doing the right thing, and guess what? They're not self-responsible. They can't pay their rent. They don't have a car. They literally are on government subsistence for their food. And you think these people are taking self-responsibility? No, they're not. No, they're not.
No.
See,
no, they're definitely not.
No,
That's
they're
the
not.
problem.
Yeah, it is
That's
a problem. But
and
that's
the voting
a human
mentality
problem.
is enabling the voting mentality is enabling this kind of big daddy complex because everyone has daddy issues because people aren't fathers anymore because they're growing up in an institution where the states want to be your daddy. I don't want the states to be my daddy.
I don't need the state. Listen, I'm the first person to tell people to start acting like adults when it comes to politics and not just choosing a side. But we have a soft culture. We have a culture where people are saying they got PTSD from the 2016 election, Luke. Okay, that's a story you sent me. I looked at it. It makes me want to, it blows my mind. You think that people that are getting PTSD from an election are self-sufficient, are responsible, are going to volunteer to do anything good? Get the F out of here, friend. This is the system
I do have hope in humanity, but humanity is definitely broken, to say the least. But I think it's broken mainly because of institutions perpetrated by the state, including the educational system, which is run by the state and indoctrinates people not to be independent, not to be responsible, not to be beholden to themselves and their lives, but to be beholden on government. It is a big Ponzi scheme, a big system that is empowered by voting that allows people to say, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to make any hard decisions for myself. I don't want to take any responsibilities. Let's give all of our authority to big daddy government. We got, and again, that mentality is perpetrated by the left and the right, and they want people to be slaves. And ultimately, we're living on a big slave formation. We have the Next News Network saying, I'm your daddy. No, like, we all got to be responsible human beings for ourselves, and we're not.
I think I'm a couple years older.
I agree with you. We're not. There's a bunch of ninnies out there. There's a bunch of people. And I would even categorize the people voting for the lesser of two evils as being kind of weaker human beings who need someone else to do the dirty work that they never want to do. And to me, it's all about taking responsibility for yourself and being like, I'm not going to legitimize any of these people's authority because I have my own authority and I have my own way of life. And I think if all of us just made that decision and just made that change in our mentality, I think that would be a step in the right direction. And I think things would figure themselves out if we mentally get ourselves there.
I disagree 100%. I think that politics is here to stay. Obviously, we're not going back to a barter and trade system. We're not going back to roving gangs and anarchy. This is reality, Luke. I'm sorry that you can't bask in it. I'm not happy with the situation we're in. I think there needs to be huge amounts of government reform. For instance, lobbying should be illegal. You should not be able to throw money.
I think there needs to be huge amounts of government elimination and not reform.
I'm about to take your side a little bit right here, by the way, Luke. If you look at one of the biggest cheerleaders for the right, Roger Stone, not a good person, not an honest person, okay? He, Manafort, and one of their partners are the godfathers of lobbying. And now there's so much money in politics, it is almost impossible to deal with the corruption until we deal with that issue. Again, one vote, one person, a representative of the people who listens to their constituents. That's what we're supposed to have. That's what our constitutional republic was built on, and we no longer have that. I'm sorry there's a lot of people out there that think that, everything would be okay if the government went away. Again, I watch live PD. I know that's not the case. You need to get some live PD in your life, Luke. And you're in New York City, bro.
You gotta send me that show.
Well, yeah. Listen, you're in New York City. You see plenty of people that can't take care of themselves. You see, and I'm not saying there's not an overwhelming amount of police there. I always feel uncomfortable when I walk down the streets of New York City and there's just cop after cop after cop after cop. However, it's for a reason. It's because there are criminals. There are murderers. There are rapists. Not everybody is going to be a good person. That's just life. They're
called
reality.
Bill Clinton. Listen, the phone call doesn't work. I just tried calling our call-in number. It doesn't work, Jason.
Really?
What the malarkey here?
I don't know. It's up. 607-542-9184. You're not getting a dial tone?
I got a dial tone, but it's not coming through.
You did get a dial tone.
I did get a dial tone.
So then why am I not hearing it?
607-542-9184, right?
Yeah, that's
I'm
so
literally
bizarre.
calling that number now. It's not going through.
That's
I
weird.
was like, why isn't no one calling in?
No, it's probably they're doing the same exact thing. I mean, I didn't. Obviously, you would have heard it. You know that I don't have this on
I'm calling
silence.
right now.
You are?
I haven't heard anything.
And you've got a dial tone?
Do you hear it? Do you hear my
you
phone?
will hear it too because it goes through my computer, bro.
Look, you hear it.
Yeah.
That's me.
And it's
That's me calling you.
607-542-9184.
The Google subscriber you have called is not available.
You're not available.
So weird. I am available.
Jason, darn it. Leaving you a voicemail, sorry. Why can't we get the voice?
Actually, I
Now
did
we got
just get 7
voicemails.
voicemails. People have been trying to call in. I'll read some of the comments. Answer your phone if you're going to place a number up there to use it.
Yeah, Jason.
Luke. Oh, why aren't you picking up? Is this a way to say thank you? Thank you. Sailor Moon, Cat's Cowboy. I totally agree between voting issue. Not a lot of people can see the mileage for what it is, and I'm sorry it gets Jason's good dude, but people who need to have a state, man, that's just tough. I can't read the rest of it. Just a lot of jumbles. Guys, there's Luke's 2 calls right there. Folks, I wish I had an answer for you. Are you calling again?
Yeah, I'm calling again, trying to get this vote. People said add +1. Maybe that would make a difference. I did +1. It's not going through.
I'm not getting any kind of. I'm not even getting a ring on my phone that I have it hooked up to, which is really
that's
bizarre.
some hooey.
I would. You know who I'm blaming? Google. I'm blaming Google. We got the phone on over here.
Google wants you to vote. The mainstream media wants you to vote. The establishment wants you to vote automatically just because of that. I don't want you to vote.
I'm not telling you what to do, Luke. I'm not an authoritarian. I'm not their daddy. I'm not their master. I'm just letting them know that I am going to be voting and why I'm going to be voting. That's all I can say. Man, I wish we could take phone calls. It worked great, like 3 or 4 times, and then all of a sudden, I don't know.
Well, that's another issue. We apologize for not being able to take your phone calls. We will, hopefully this Sunday. We do a live stream every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, when we go over all the important news. But as far as this election coverage, let us know in the comments. Jason's looking at the comments. I'm looking at the comments. If there's anything specifically you want us to go over. Again, I think my stand on this issue is made very clear. I think Jason's is very clear here. We went over some of the predictions, what people are saying. Also, Jason, people recommended you reset your phone. Maybe that could be the thing, or reset the applications, turn everything off and on again.
Mm-hmm.
The good old way of troubleshooting all your electrical devices. We got people saying here that, Jason, you're an NPC. How do you respond to so many NPC criticisms?
Well, first of all, I think the NPC meme is moronic. I think it is low
I like
level.
the NPC
I bet you do.
I
You
love
love
the NPC
memes.
meme.
You love them. You can't get
I
enough
love
of memes. You literally sent me 7 memes and 3 stories today. You love memes. I don't. I think that they're ridiculous in most cases. Don't get me wrong. I chuckle every once in a while. But especially the gray NPC meme. Let me tell you why I don't like it. I don't think that, first of all, promoting the idea that we live in the Matrix in a simulated universe and there's only so many awake souls and the rest are some kind of, they're computer programmed. No, we're all programmed. I'm guilty. You're guilty. The guy sitting there smoking CBD oil next to me, he's guilty too. We're all effing brainwashed. We all buy into advertising. We all buy into subliminals. None of us are perfect. Now, to try to tell another human being that they're not self-aware because you disagree with them politically, you think that's going to get you anywhere? No, it's not. It's going to get you absolutely freaking nowhere. So why wouldn't you want to talk to that person? Why wouldn't you want to have a conversation with them? Why wouldn't you want to reach out and say, well, actually, I think this way, and this is why. I'm not going to call you a name. I'm not going to call you a libtard. You're not an NPC. Okay? You see where I'm going with this, people? Reach out to your fellow human beings instead of making fun of them. Instead, you got all these S posters that just want to sit there and troll away until you make somebody so insane that they say they're going to have PTSD from an election that had little to nothing to do with their lives. That's a problem. So,
Jason, not liking NPCs means you're more likely to be an NPC.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, I know. I get it. I'm a zombie. I'm an automaton. I don't think for myself because I don't do what somebody else wants me to, right? Or I don't think the way that somebody that posted that thinks. Listen, post your memes. Have your fun. I'm pro free speech. But when something is asinine, I'm going to call it asinine. And the NPC meme is asinine. Go ahead, Luke.
No, it's not asinine. It's a beautiful, ingenious way to promote critical thinking and independent thought, which I think we're at a critical juncture in our social discourse that is at an all-time low and needs to be expanded and can only be expanded through the beautiful art form that is the meme. And through the meme form, we're able to express ourselves more articulately than we can through just the use of words. And the combination of images and words coming together to demonstrate our discontent of public discussion, which has just become a repetitive copy and paste gel of absolute grayness and nothingness, is something worth mocking.
I mean, you can keep saying that,
my
man. But again, what was that last word you said? What was that last word? Mocking? Oh, is that how we come together? Making fun of one another? Listen, it's fine again to have.
I have a theory that we could actually come together by not taking ourselves seriously, being able to laugh at ourselves, and I think that is the first step to actually coming together, not taking things personally, seeing the power of words, or really the power that you give it. And I think, yes, mocking is the best way for all of us to come together.
I don't. I think that actual conversation, reaching out to somebody, trying to find a point of agreement.
I mean, people are so soft. I mean, you're never going to agree on anything with anyone.
I'm never going to agree on anything with anyone. If you're going to
disagree, you might as well make fun of yourself. You might as well make fun of other people, because I think making fun and humorizing it really brings out the human side that a lot of this is missing. Everyone wants to be robotic. Everyone wants to repeat the same lines. Everyone wants to be offended. Everyone wants to be hurt. Everyone wants to be a victim out there. I don't want any of that. I want people to be their own people, in control of themselves, in control of their emotions, and not be triggered by some word or some action that they don't like, that some other people did, that has no effect on their life at all. So that's why I think humor, mockery is really the best kind of solution and the way out of this. Because if you try to sit down with somebody, especially now with people getting triggered and then getting hurt, on the left and right, but now people having PTSD because of this election, you try to go to them and be like, hey, you're going to be jumping through so many hoops. You're going to need so much foam and safety bubbles to get through that. You're going to be there all day scratching your head, and they're still never going to be satisfied because, again, they're taking themselves too seriously. And that's not a point to meet someone at. And I think the best point to meet someone at is with self-deprecation, is with laughter, it's with humor, and not taking yourself seriously, and just with joking. And if they can't take a joke, that's on them.
Okay, so again, people are so willing to take a joke when you're nasty to them in this environment. What the hell are you talking about, man? And by the way, guys, I was
like,
able
people
to
are nasty
out.
to me, but I think learning how to handle that is the most important key in a lot of this, and a lot of progressing society forward and moving ourselves into the right direction. I think one of the big things that people need to learn is to not take things personally. I think that's very, 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 very important. It's something that we have to learn as being YouTubers. You guys talk about everything: our noses, our hairlines, our relationships, who we dated before, all this other stuff that's utterly insane, and that's okay. Reading some of the comments, Luke has no sense of humor, comes off as rude to Jay. Yeah, that's people's opinions.
I mean, I'm not even saying that, but
that's
again,
okay.
I don't know how we're going to, I don't know how we're going to grow as a people. I really don't understand how we're going to grow if we can't reach out to each other, have actual civil conversations. I'm not saying that jokes are bad. I love comedy. In fact, I hate in this environment that people like Roseanne have been vilified. That doesn't mean I agree with Roseanne, but she is a comedian. Okay, she is not a political figure, and yet
the Next News Network says that they're triggered by me.
You're triggered by you? Really? That's weird.
Gary Franchi is saying he's triggered by Luke.
That's odd. You know what? We do have some other super chats. Let me just go to them quick. And by the way, I was able to call out. I know people heard that ring, so I wanted to make sure it was working. But I called out to my other phone, and it went through. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the browser. Maybe Google's limited me. I'm going to run some tests later today. I promise we will be taking phone calls maybe later this week, but definitely on Sunday. I apologize. Matt 3078. This election is a shiz show. Very much so. One of these messages was redacted. You're going to love the ones coming up. 2 from Eyes Wide Open are yours. What is your take on the Anonymous March? I'm not aware of the Anonymous March coming up. But here's the dig, and I do think this is, here it is. Oh, look at the chuckles. Jason, you need to get the Grindr app. You'll do great. I'm sure I wear. See, the problem with me is on the Grindr app, I'm not really a twink, but I'm not a bear either. You know, I'm kind of somewhere in the middle.
Twink bear hybrid.
I'm a twink bear hybrid. I'm a brink. Obviously, I'm a brink, and I don't know how well I'll do on Grindr. But you know what? I'm going for it. Why not? I'm gonna go find my Ronaldo, my Teddy, my Louie, my Tommy, my Billy, and my Bobby, and we're gonna go down to the Manhandler later and have a great time. Anyway,
I'm so confused with any of the lingo you just said.
But we were talking elections. I know we're having fun now, an hour into the conversation, but.
We can use Discord for the call-ins, by the way.
Yeah, Discord's. I mean, I haven't messed with it on this PC.
Let's mess around with Discord. As far as Eyes Wide Shut Open are yours, the super chats. Thank you so much for those very wonderful and eloquent super chats. Really appreciate the amazing conversation starters that you guys have here. The specific question about the Anonymous March, there was a Million Mask March that happened yesterday, a little bit in Washington, D.C., a little bit in Philadelphia. It's usually more of a London thing. I haven't really checked in on what happened in London, but I saw Ford Fisher. He was out there for News to Share, covering some of the protest, and it used to be something really major, especially during Occupy Wall Street. A lot of people, excuse me, not from the left, not from the right, came out and they would protest everything, every form of government, and kind of dwindled down a little bit. But it was interesting seeing some aspects of it still alive and some people still carrying the kind of anonymous V for Vendetta mask, November 5th kind of Million Mask March protest kind of ideology that we saw a little bit of yesterday. Yeah. So that's the super chat. Any other super chats you want to get into? We should pretty much end this. I got a flight to catch soon as well.
Yeah, I think that.
And we have to go vote, Jason.
I am gonna go vote. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not forcibly sending you text messages on your phone or alerts. I am simply saying to the people out there that you are a powerful person. Your voice does matter. If you are inclined to do so, you can go make a decision. And I would hope, again, that you do not treat this like team sports, like Team Red or Team Blue, and that you vote your conscience. Okay, and that's what I'm going to try to do today. And that's why I was very open and honest with the fact that I may vote Republican or I may vote Libertarian.
You're going to vote Republican.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to, if we go any further, I might not be able to get my second coffee. So that might get me bitter. And maybe
Why wouldn't you get your second coffee?
Well, the coffee shop closes at 2.
Okay. All right. Let's finish this up. Thank you, everyone, so much. I'm going to go enjoy the absolute crap show that is our voting establishment system. I'm going to do my little protest votes. Don't vote. I'm not advocating for you to vote. Be a free, independent thinker. And remember, you have the responsibility and power within yourselves to decide not only the pathway that you go on, but with the future of our society and our country goes forward. And I hope it goes forward in an independent, sovereign, responsible, self-responsible way, and not one run and controlled by mafiosos and gangs like the Bloods and Crips, or the Democrats, or the Republicans, or just ultimately just criminals. Don't give your power away to criminals. That's what I have to say on this matter. Last final comments here by Jason.
Well, I just want to say this. I don't think that you're giving your power up as long as you hold these people's feet to the fire and you know the system that you are dealing with. It is a corrupt system. It is a dishonest system. It is one where partisan politicians on the left and the right are beholden to their corporate and military industrial complex masters. And that is why we need to get money out of politics. We need to end the lobbying system. We need to go back to a constitutional republic. Unfortunately, I won't be able to vote on that today, but I will be voting. And again, I'm not saying I'm better than you or you should go out and do that, but I'm going to do it. And I hope that if you go out and do it, you again vote your conscience and you don't just vote one party because you're playing team sports. That's what I have to say about that. I want to thank everybody for watching this, everybody that gave a super chat. I'm going to try to get the callers in. Remember, I may even do another video today live on the backup channel as the election results come in while Luke is on a plane to Poland. So if you want to check me out there, it's Pulse Change. Please go subscribe. And I love you guys. You know I do. I may not agree with you. I may get heckled in the comments section, but that's A-okay. I may get heckled by Luke. But
Everyone does. I get heckled. I get heckled by you. I get heckled in the comments. It's okay. It's fine.
I love free and independent conversations that are honest, and that's what we're trying to do here. So again, thank you all. Subscribe to the backup and be the change you want to see in the world.
Peace. Don't vote.